Hi everyone, it's Thursday, which means it's time for Wildcat weekly wrap-up. I was actually outside giving catnip to the bobcats and bengals when Judson found me, and was funny. He said, I don't mean to ruin your fun, but it's time for the weekly wrap-up. So didn't want to forget you guys, but it's nice when I get a chance to get outside and see the cats. And so it's amazing how much catnip I went through, because I was walking through Bella the bobcat in quarantine, Sebastian and Luna, Essie. I mean, I could name off everybody. I even visited Lloyd, who's in the shift area next to Fiona and Bruno, and trying to think about when we'll have our first play dates. So it's fun leaving catnip for everybody and having them run and enjoy it. There's a few that ran up hoping it was food and looked at me a little disgusted that it was just a handful of catnip I dropped on their perch or through the fence. So it was funny. But it is, every week I come here and I think, what am I going to talk about? And then I sit down and I think of God, all the amazing amount of stuff that has gotten done because of your support. And I'm just forever grateful. So I wanted to kind of go through a few things. As you guys saw, Coco had her spay today, and it was a little bit of a surprise for us because we, as our policies, we spay and neuter all of our small cats, but it is very common in a lot of the sanctuaries and other facilities to just neuter the males and not spay the females. A lot of that is time, cost, invasiveness, if they have recovery areas. And so when our staff saw that Coco was showing she was in heat, we went back and looked at the vet records, and yeah, she hadn't been spayed. Obviously their goal was to not have them breed, so they neutered Sine. So nothing wrong, just a little surprise to us. But she did great during her surgery and is recovering, and they'll be separated for a couple days, but we don't have to separate the small cats or keep them confined like the big cats for 10 days, because we're not as worried about dehiscence, where just the weight of their body and everything can cause issues. So try and keep them quiet, but nothing like the big cats. I can tell you that it is crazy the amount of Bengal calls we're getting. We just got another one from animal control on an unneutered male who's kind of spraying over his litter box, and every rescue group is full, not just for Bengals, but for domestic cats. So I know we have so many cat lovers out there. I never want anybody to overextend themselves, but if anybody has it in their heart to adopt another cat from a shelter or rescue group, now is the time to do it. We say this almost every year, but I think due to COVID, I'm just guessing that there wasn't a spaying and neutering going on, especially in the feral cat colonies, that we are just at the highest rate of stray cats across America that I've ever seen. And so many of them are loving. They're not feral. They've been vetted. They're wonderful. The one rescue group that we've are trying to talk to right now, Safe Hands, who might help us with this Bengal, because we're just full as well. They have 50 cats in foster, and they are a small organization. And she's even trying to see if she can put this little wonderful domestic Bengal in her basement. We've offered to neuter him and vet him, because rescue groups do that all the time, but the list to get into a vet is still extremely long and farther out. So it's wonderful when we can work together, but it is a lot of energy for each individual cat and a lot of time and expense, and we're all willing to do it. We just can't fit this little guy in. My heart says yes, but as I walk around and evaluate, we don't want to take a cat in that we can't give a huge quality of life to right now. And part of that is we'll be sharing with you what our big plans are for next year for our Bengal and hybrid program. But there's going to be a lot of construction going on, a lot of new things going on because of the small cat crisis, and being one of the few sanctuaries that can adapt and adjust, that we are going to be displacing our cats and having to put them in other areas of the sanctuary to do the plan that we want to do, that would not only help our cats but help future cats. So we have to look at that as we're accepting new residents in as well. Sorry. got a little bit of a cough right now. So on top of that, Fargo is still in quarantine. He's our newest F1 Bengal, which we really had no space for. And I remember Anna sending me the email saying, I know this is coming at the worst time. I wouldn't do this if the shelter had another option. But this is a really high content F1 that's been rehomed and things. And so of course, now that Fargo's here and has been through his intake exam and finishing up quarantine, we love him. He is a little pistol. He only wants to come up for food. He'll scream for food, but otherwise he wants nothing to do with us. But it's amazing how quickly Elise and Rio and I and everybody have fallen for him because of his little attitude. So we're hoping to merge him in a bungalow outdoors. I know the staff right now, because this little guy is so small, you know, he's 6.5 pounds, and he's a climber, and he is probably 75% Asian leopard cat or more. They're going in and inspecting that bungalow he's going into to make sure there is no little crevice or corner that if he gets scared or wants to climb out, that he can get out. And so we're hoping his final tests, like toxoplasmosis and coronavirus and all that, labs will come in today or tomorrow, and then they can work on the plan to get him out of indoor quarantine. So stay tuned on that. I have a feeling, I could be wrong, cats can prove me wrong, once he goes out, we might not get photos for a while because I think he's gonna be pretty elusive and pretty nocturnal like most F1s are. So he'll be living his best life, but we probably won't see that personally for a while to be able to share on like daily live posts. We also have our auction coming up. As you guys know, we have an online auction a couple times a year, and we have some new things you've never seen before that Jenny and her husband have created for the next online auction. So some things are really, really cool. So you'll definitely want to check that out. And we also hear from a lot of people that how can they get on site? And this is your chance. They will be 3 or 4 tickets, and they're the last tickets available for our VIP event in fall. And so that is your chance to bid on that, to be able to come on site and not only have a tour of the sanctuary, but there's a gala dinner that is all part of that ticket price. There's transport from the cities to the sanctuary, your lunch and meal here. It is the best value for your money. It might seem expensive at $500 a ticket, but what you get for that is way more than that value. So definitely watch for the auction. I think that's next week, or I think it's next week, but we'll definitely post that on Facebook and your e-news and things like that. So don't miss out on that. Behind the scenes, we are always looking for ways to better the sanctuary, be more cost effective, and also bringing more money to the cats and the direct programs we do. And so one of that is to upgrade our merchant account, which is an online verbiage for our credit card processing donation company. And what this will do is this new transition, when you go to our donate forms, you will see something new where you can click and choose to pay the credit card fees. And that means if you give $10 instead of us receiving $8 and the rest going to credit card fees, you can round up your donation and cover that. Now, that might seem that $1.50 or even 60 cents, depending upon your gift, might not seem like a lot, but we pay $45,000 a year in credit card processing fees for donations that come through online. So if even a few people or half of the people that donate will round up to cover those credit card fees, that's a huge amount that now is going towards the cats. That replaces the Amazon wish list grants that went away or other foundation grants that went away. I mean, that is a huge, huge way. So we're really excited. If you are a monthly donor or a sponsored donor, we hope there are not any glitches during this transition, but the future, the new processor requires the 3-digit security card on the back as well as a zip code for the billing address. So if there's any kind of declines or things, Lynette and Sally will reach out to you right away, but email us if you get those. It just means we need a little bit more information for the new processor to process your gift. But we're so thankful for those monthly gifts, and we know whenever we change a database migration, there's a few bumps and glitches, but know your gifts are secure and safe. It's just even more safe, so it might require more data to get your gift processed. So thank you so much for that. We have some big projects on site. As you guys know, we had that big issue with our electric. We were able to get the estimate down to $25,000 to upgrade the electric, and that will be starting next week. So we're very thankful for that, and I'm so thankful for my birthday fundraiser because that freezer is stocked thanks to you guys. You guys came through for us to buy our commercial diets, both kinds that we have, AAA and Nebraska brand. You guys helped us buy beef. You guys helped us buy our carcass feeding. And then thank you always to Turpentine Creek and Tyson. Turpentine Creek has a wonderful relationship with Tyson Foods, and they have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of food in freezers, and they're having to pay for that rental fee. They're having, they don't want the food to age out, so once a year they reach out to sanctuaries and say, hey, can anybody use this food? And we absolutely said yes, and so about 40,000 pounds of food came in with that way too. And we're so forever grateful for Turpentine Creek and Tyson and all of those that help us all work together and make sure meat doesn't spoil and make sure everybody that can benefit from it does. So we're just forever grateful for that as well. And so when that electric comes through, my biggest thing was we have this freezer where if you open the door, it is a wall. It is so full. It's great that when they do the electric, we want to make sure there's no glitches, that the electric goes down too long, and that we have issues with the freezer. I can live without water for a while, but that freezer with all the money there, so our facilities are working with them through that to make sure there's backup and safety net in course of that. So we're excited about that. We also have, we're upgrading our security system throughout the property. And that means it'll be a closed network. We'll have more cameras looking over the whole sanctuary in our closed circuit. And then eventually we need to upgrade the Wi-Fi network outside as well. And that's another project so that those two can talk to each other, and we'll have more video available, even if it's sky cams, for hopefully streaming, or Judson using for marketing, things like that. So those are huge projects. Big expenses, but really important to the future of the sanctuary. We have outreach booths this week. So Judson might have touched on that the Cat Film Fest here in the Twin Cities is here. It's about 5,000 people come together that love cats. Olivia and Stephanie are out there going to be running the booth, and we have volunteers there helping as well. So that's going to be a really fun way to help the cats. And one of our sanctuary videos will be up on the screen that Judson did, so that's exciting. And then Gina is all the way, during this data migration process, sadly all the way driving to Chicago for the Take the Action for Animals conference, which is hosted by the Humane Society of the United States and is kind of the leading conference for animal advocacy. So we're a sponsor there this year, but we're also hosting an educational booth to share the small cat crisis and tools to help with that, but also the ramifications of the Big Cat Public Safety Act, and how, if people see violations of that, how they can report and move forward. And then in general, how do they speak up for animals? So it's a great option there. And then we're still doing CBD trial. We talked about that before, a CBD trial with cats. We're in our second kind of grouping, and what we've noticed is cats are very picky. We always knew that, but they are really picky with this CBD medicine, and as soon as they taste it, they want to spit it out. But we're trying it again on cats that are arthritic to see if there's another option for arthritis, as well as those that might have higher stress, or really kind of, I hate to say it, like our ADHD cats. We have a few of those. I would say Cine, the F1 Savannah, is definitely one of those overstimulators. And on top of that, we're still doing Silencia. And so Silencia, I know so many of you that have cats know about it. It is the new miracle drug for many cats with osteoarthritis. When other pain management does not work, this stops the nerve receptors from feeling the pain. And so that is an amazing thing. And we have quite a few cats on it. Our bigger cats like Bosco and Aria have to have 2 doses each month. And then other cats have small, single doses. We're adding Bengal Tiger to that and Hilo. And so we're probably close to $400 or $500 a month in Silencia. And so you might, if you're a sponsor parent, seeing us reaching out in the near future, asking for assistance in that, because we'd love to have that money in the bank, knowing that we can have the next 6 months covered, the next year covered for those cats that need it, and other cats are going on it all the time. It is an expensive drug, but it is the most comforting thing we can give to animals that allow us to give a sub-Q injection. Let's see. So yesterday was a fun day too, because Elise did training for dart filling, immobilization training, jab sticks for all the caretakers. Even though Elise, me, and a few people are kind of the core team in doing that, we want everybody to learn, and we want as many people proficient in that in an emergency, and just because it's really great for learning. So I also learned, being one of the older people here, on older equipment, and it is hard to teach an old director new tricks. So I even wanted Elise to share with me and teach me on some of the new the new dart techniques and things that I'm like a little apprehensive of. The more I do it, the more I don't have to defer to what I've done for the last 15 to 20 years. So that was great as well. And then we did our intern and staff reunion. That was just amazing. Amazing to have people that were here months ago to people that were here decades ago come together. We had about 14 people on the work day and about 20 people the social hour, just learning what everybody knew when they were here, how it was different when they were here. They did that whole day of work that Judson went live on, which was amazing. And to see who are vet techs now, who are at other sanctuaries. And what really warmed my heart is when we walked around and did tours, and like they all wanted to see Tiger the Bengal, Benny the office cat. It wasn't just the big cool cats, it was those that just meant so much to them. And the oohs and ahs of just falling in love all over again with the cats they cared for when they were here was just heartwarming. And I'm so blessed that they're out in the world doing compassionate care around the country at other facilities, shelters, and veterinarian offices. It's just amazing. So some cat updates. Let me see. Everybody's doing well. We were talking about in our vet meeting that we have this morning, we try and talk about who's not eating meds, who's doing things. And when those meetings are short, life is good. So Ramsey, the Canada Lynx, has been a stickler for not wanting his PM medications, mostly because it's been hot out and he's older and he just relaxes. So he's been eating his meals great, just not his PM meds. I was over there with the catnip. He was noticing the catnip but didn't care, where Brianna was right up at the front. So that was awesome. As I walked around, we had Beauty, who is, our Eurasian lynx, always 100% at the fence. She was a little off for a few days, so they got her locked in, and she was kind of only eating a little bit of her meal, then she was eating half, but now she's back to her normal self. So we didn't have to intervene. We don't know if she caught something in her habitat and just was full. We don't know if something upset her stomach, but she's definitely back to herself. So that's wonderful. Kitu and Lavani have kind of been stable. We were really worried about Lavani for a while, and we don't know when things will change again for the worse, since they're very, very senior, but they're both eating pretty consistently and maintaining weight, so that is really good. I'm trying to think of, it's really good when nothing bad has gone on. Most of the observations and the discussions have been around cats not wanting their PM meds due to the heat, but nothing major. Taras is limp, as we've talked about for a couple weeks. It's almost not even there today, so that is really great. So they got full access to their yard, and so the big question is, once he has full access to his yard for a whole day playing, is he gonna kind of, you know, make that soft tissue injury kind of resurface again? Let's see, Nova and Indy are doing great. We haven't done play dates with any cats recently since the ones we've shared with you because of the heat, and we never want what's already a stressful situation to be elevated in the heat and then have any respiratory distress or pacing and things like that. So a lot of that will be revisited again next week. We are going to do some intake exams on Sine, and Elizabeth and Noah, those big tigers, have always been on the intake exam list, but because they were doing well and when they first came, he was so heavy, we just haven't done them. We're not concerned or worried about them at all, but it is something we would love to have a baseline of their kidneys and things like that and get a better idea of how their teeth are. And so they're still on the list, it's just other things become a priority. And so we are always juggling, and I'm so thankful for the vet staff and the caretaker team that's always willing to juggle and put other cats in need first. And so I kind of think that's what's been going on. Next week is the auction, and then in the coming weeks we want you to stay tuned. We are hoping to have some announcements. A lot of my time has been in the works of cases around the country and cats that might be joining our family. We always hope the right decisions are made for the cats and that we can provide them a sanctuary home for those that need it. And so we'll continue to talk to you and share with you what we can when we can. And always know that we're really busy behind the scenes because, you know, when we have amnesty cats like Nova, when they come in, you get to see when she comes and everything, even though you don't know her history. But again, when we have witness protection cases in cats, those you never hear about, but those take a lot of time, a lot of coordination, and sometimes they can be singles and sometimes they can be dozens of cats. And so we still have that program going. We still have animals in that program that we cannot share. We sure hope, you know, 5 years don't pass at some point before we can share cats with you, but we love those cats just as much, and there's some that have just truly transformed more than almost any cat we've had at our sanctuary, and we would love to share their stories someday, but at least they're in safe haven until then. And you know, sadly we'll be saying goodbye to some of our media interns. It's their time to leave, but that's always a sad goodbye when our animal interns and media interns leave, but we know they're going to go out in the world and do good, awesome things. So we're really thankful for that. And so I will let you know if there's anything new that changes. But again, thank you guys for all your support. Thank you for all your comments on Facebook and forwarding the messages. Thank you for the support you give to so many organizations and animals. Collaboration is key to end the small cat crisis, you know, to address the Big Cat Public Safety Act enforcement. And so it's gonna be a busy next 12 months, that's for sure. And we are definitely reviewing how TWS can best play a role in all of that, as well as remaining sustainable. And your ongoing gifts are really what makes that happen. We never want to do emergency appeals. We never want to only rescue a cat if you guys give. We always want to keep those funds full so that no cat is in waiting for funding, and that we always know that if we say yes, your support is to make it a sustainable, long-term, 20-year commitment. It's not just to get them through the door. Sadly, we've seen too many sanctuaries and facilities close and move because the sustainability isn't there, and we just don't want to be that organization. We've committed to you and the cats that every cat here, we will be here for them till the end. On site here at their home, and the only way we can do that is with all of you and what you're already doing to support us and the cats. So thank you for being amazing people you are. I'm just honored that you're part of our team, and I look forward to speaking with you next week.